Good morning, everybody. It's a nice sunny Florida morning in January, and I've decided it's time to do an upgrade on the Jazz. So today, it's time to get rid of the old dash. Okay, there it is. Houndstooth covered dash. This is the stereo plate. This is the upper glove box. That's what color it used to be. And this is what the Florida sun has done to it. So, first things first, we need to remove a few screws, get this dash panel out, and there's pressure clips here, here, over here, and two down here that we need to pop the stereo plate out with. Now, we'll take the stereo and the AC units with it, but those come apart with screws as well, and all we need is the faceplate. So for starters, I'm going to go ahead and pop those out, and we'll get them outside. Okay, so as you can see, I just got the upper dash out. Now I have to get the stereo unit out. Anytime you're working on the plastic interior pieces of a vehicle, you'll want to use some of the specially designed pry bars. They come in a variety. These will actually help you to work on the car without scratching up the plastic pieces, so you can't really tell when you get it dinged out. You don't want to use metal things like a knife or a screwdriver. That just really tears up the plastic. So, like I said, there's pressure pieces up here that we're going to shoot for first. Get the plastic pry bar in there. Okay, so I just felt this one and this one down here pop. So I have to use a skinnier one over here. There we go. Okay, so this one and this one just popped. There's one more down there. I don't know if it's loose or not. We're going to find out. No. There we go. And it just pops straight out. And like I said, it's going to take the AC vents and the stereo unit with it. These, and there's also actually a light down here that need to be disconnected. So you just pull them out as far as it'll go, and you have to reach behind and disconnect the cables. Okay, the hazard lights are disconnected. Stereo's disconnected, and the airbag light is disconnected. So now I have a giant hole in my dash. Okay, so now I have my dash pieces out. Here's the stereo unit, here's the glove box. What I have here is xylene, very dangerous to work with, so please be careful. It does melt plastic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use it to clean a layer of adhesive off that's holding on the fabric. I've also got some old t-shirts for cloth, water, sandpaper, and the ever essential gloves. So first we have to take apart the stereo unit itself. So it's got several screws in the back, Phillips head screwdriver, piece of cake. Now all we have to do is get the fabric off. That's pretty simple, you just peel. Okay, there's the glove box. As you can see, prior to wrapping it, I actually had a little bit of graffiti paint done on it. Did it myself, but it just got old, so I decided it was time to redo it and ended up covering it with the fabric. But the Florida sun destroyed the color, so now it's time to do a little more paint work. So I'm actually going to have to sand this one a little bit extra to get it smooth again because of the paint. But that comes after we clean the adhesive off. It's still got a layer of glue on it that needs to come off. So now it's time for some gloves. Now, there's probably a lot of other things that you could use, like other kind of solvents and paint thinners, things that could get the dried glue off. I happen to have xylene in my garage, and I know that it works. Xylene will also strip paint. Don't inhale it. It's very poisonous. And if you get too much in contact with your gloves, it will melt the gloves. So just be careful when using it. Melts right through the gloves. Okay, so now I have the adhesive stripped off of both pieces. They look pretty messy right now. They've just got rough parts where the paint is thinner than others. The clear coat is partially gone. This one still has a little bit of it, but now we need to sand it down, get it smooth so that I can recoat it. And I do have sandpaper here to start with. So I'm going to start with the 220, get a lot of the evening done, polish it off with 400 to smooth them both out, and then we'll get ready to paint them. Always make sure you have a clear area when you paint, because spray paint, it gets on everything. Like that, even the smallest bit of mist, it can mess stuff up. Okay, what I'm working on here is one of those reusable drop cloths. These are great. Use at Lowe's or Home Depot and use them as many times. It keeps you from painting your driveway, your garage. I've even painted my car on top of this. That's actually where all the black marks came from. So these things are great. Always make sure that you've got something underneath so that you're not, like I said, painting your concrete, unless you don't care. So, okay, I have a sandable, fast-drying filler primer combination here by Rust-Oleum. So I'm going to give this a good coat, fill in any imperfections, like I said, that were either caused by or missed by the sandpaper. These have already been primed. I went ahead and sanded them, went from 220 to 400, smoothed the edges with 2000. So these have a really smooth finish on them right now. I've already wiped off the dust. Now we're going to go ahead and get them painted. What I have here is Krylon Color Master, dries fast. This one's just a gloss white. So I'm going plain Jane on these this time. Now we just have to let them dry. Okay, so I've done several layers of the gloss white paint on here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give it a light wet sanding before we do the clear coat. So what I have here is 1000 grit, 2000 grit, and 2500 grit. So we'll start out with the 1000. I also have pads with the same grit, so you'll see me use those for some of the tighter spaces. And I have a dish of water just to keep it wet. Basically what that does is that eliminates some of the bumps and dust that's gotten in with the paint before we do the clear coat, and then we'll do the same to the clear coat. Okay, so put the clear coat on it. Magic number's 3 coats of white, 3 coats of clear. Did the wet sanding again. Now it's all nice and smooth. It's got actually a nice matte finish to it, which is a lot better than a gloss, especially in the front dash of a car because you don't want the sun glaring off of it and into your eyes while you're trying to drive. So now it's just time to put it back together. Okay, so the unit itself is done, and it's ready to get plugged back in. Not putting the glove box in at this time because it had a few dings in it. I need to reprimer it, resand it, and recoat it. Okay, those are plugged in. The great thing about this is you just put it back into place, pressure clips for the wind. Pops right back in place. So now I have a white dash to match my white interior. And once the glove box goes in, that's going to look awesome.